Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Gunjavihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gunjavihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gunjavihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Hey Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Hariva, 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 Nitya Gaura, Hariva, Jaya, Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya, Jaya, Prabhupada. Jnanatimirandasya Janagana Salakayam Chakshusmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam tapitam jena bhutale Swayam upakara maya dadati sapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yata Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagaragadatam Sagana Raganatan Vitam Vijana Sahit Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Hey Krishna Dina Bandhu Jagapate Visha Gopika Kanta Kanta Namosite Kanta Gaurangi Vivasya Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Dvaita Gadadha Sivasari Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Srimad Bhagvatam Canto 1, Chapter 6, Text 20. Evam yatantam vijane. Evam yatanta vijane. Mamaha gocharo giram. Mamahoha gocharo giram. Gambira Shlakshnaya Vacha Gambira Shlokshanaya Vacha Shucha Prasanaya Yan Iva Shucha Prasanamaya Iva. Good, you want to try?
Evam yatantam vijane
Evam yatanta vijane
Mamaha vocharo gira
Mama vocharo gira
Gambhira shlakhnaya vacha
Gambira slakshanaya vacha
Shamayam niva
Evam yatantam vijane Mama vocharo gira Gambira Shlakshanaya Vacha Sucha Prasanaya Niva Evam Yatanta Vijane Mahagochara Giram Gambira Shlakshanaya Vacha Sucha Prasanaya Mataji's Evam Yatanta Vijane Manacha Garochiram Gambira Slakshana Gira Sucha Rasanayan Viva Evam Yatanta Vijane Evam, thus, yatantam, one who is engaged in attempting, vijane, in that lonely place, mam, unto me, aha, said, agochara, beyond the range of physical sound, giram, utterance, gambira, grave, shlakshnaya, pleasing to hear, vacha, words, suchaha, grief, prasanmayan, mitigating, iva, like. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Seeing my attempts in that lonely place, the personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all mundane description, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words just to mitigate my grief. Responsibly. Seeing my attempts in that lonely place, the personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all mundane descriptions, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words, just to mitigate my grief. Purport. In the Vedas it is said that God is beyond the approach of mundane words and intelligence. And yet, by His causeless mercy, one can have suitable senses to hear Him or to speak to Him. So this is an important point, that we can't expect that the Lord is going to be our servant and He's going to speak to us everything we say to Him. But He can if He wants. That's His position. He's a person. He has likes and dislikes. If He likes to speak, He can speak like He's doing here. And yet, by His causeless mercy, one can have suitable senses to hear Him or to speak to Him. I think I did that. This is the Lord's inconceivable energy. One upon whom His mercy is bestowed can hear Him. The Lord was much pleased with Narada Muni, and therefore the necessary strength was invested in him so he could hear the sound of the Lord. Again, it's a question of, if the Lord is pleased with us, then anything can be possible. But this is our goal. We want to do everything for the pleasure of the Lord without exception. And therefore, this is our simple process. Just analyze whatever is coming. Is this pleasing to the Lord or not? If it's pleasing to the Lord, we should take it. If it's not, we reject it. But this is the business of intelligence and mind. We can use our intelligence and mind to accept or reject. But we have to be spiritually intelligent in order to know what's actually pleasing to the Lord and what is not. It is not, however, possible for others to perceive directly the touch of the Lord during the probationary stage of regulated devotional service. In other words, for us who are just neophytes, then it may not be difficult, it may not be possible for us to directly perceive the touch of the Lord. But we shouldn't be discouraged. We know Krishna is Bhakta-Vatsal. He's inclined to his devotee. He is happy to make his devotee happy. It's stated that Krishna loves Uddhava more than himself, so many thousands of times, because Uddhava is such a pure devotee. So this is the nature of the Lord. He likes to please his devotees, but we have to become real devotees. Real devotee is tested. Are you doing it for your own advantage, or is it for the pleasure of the Lord? It's not a very difficult test, but the habit is there since time immemorial to do everything for our own advantage here in the material world. And so we may take this as an opportunity to get ahead in the world. So that kind of motive, it will never really hear the Lord. We'll never be able to see Him. He reserved the right not to reveal Himself to those who are not pure devotees. So we saw Srila Prabhupada was such a pure devotee, and Krishna reciprocated with him in so many ways. Otherwise, how can one old man go to a foreign country with no money, no friends, and be able to start a worldwide movement in 10 years? It's not possible. Except that Krishna was pleased with him. We know that Prabhupada wrote a wonderful poem at that time, how he wanted to be a puppet in Krishna's hand. And he prayed there, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. So Prabhupada danced very wonderfully. There's a nice recollection of his dancing in London, Rathiacha. They brought the card, and he was going to sit on Subhaja's card, the last card. But he didn't sit. Instead, he started walking and dancing. 1976, I think it was. And he was dancing and dancing the whole way from Marble Arch to Trafalgar Square. So at one point, the police came and told tell this old man to stop dancing, because when he's dancing like that, we can't control the crowd. So Prabhupada, the devotee told Prabhupada that the police want you to stop dancing, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada just turned like he didn't hear it and kept dancing. The civil disobedience. Srila Prabhupada ki. A devotee in love with God feels always the pangs of separation and is therefore always enwrapped in transcendental ecstasy. So this question came up some time ago about if we are really separated from the Lord and we're feeling unhappy because of that, how is that different than mundane unhappiness? Like once the devotee said, Prabhupada came and saw he was in a depressed mood, and Prabhupada said, what's wrong? And the devotee said, I just have a little transcendental depression, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, no, there's no transcendental depression. If you're transcendental, you can't be depressed. So then how is it that Narada Muni is feeling the pangs of separation and is therefore always enwrapped in transcendental ecstasy? So he was feeling the pangs of separation, but it brought him ecstasy. Service and separation, we know it can be more intense than direct. That's the mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's feeling separation from Krishna, and he's crying, where are you, Krishna? And the Goswamis also, in their famous prayers to the Lord, they're saying, where are you, Krishna? Are you on the Govardhan Hill? Or are you just by the Bamsi Bhat? So they're feeling separation. Where are you, Krishna? But that separation is transcendental. It's not like ordinary depression, because that feeling of separation, you wouldn't want to be without that feeling. Whereas a mundane feelings of suffering, you like to take an aspirin and get rid of your headache. So there's a difference. We have to discriminate. And let's do one more verse. No internet. Maybe I can't see too well, so this book might be a little hard for me to see. It is. So this is your Sunday program. Every Sunday, this many people come? Very good. Okay, text 21. Thank you, Prabhu. Hantasmin janmani bhavam mamam drashtum ihar hati avipakva kasayanam durdashoham kuyoginam. Translation. O Narada, the Lord spoke, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely freed from all material taints can hardly see me. So, therefore, Rupa Goswami says the first qualification is patience. If we're demanding, show yourself to me, Krishna, no. He reserves the right of revealing himself when he sees fit. So we should go on with our service, go on with our sincere chanting. And Prabhupada liked it, that we chant like a baby crying for the mother. So there's a separation. We should learn how to chant in such a way that Krishna will be attracted to us. That's possible. And then we can say we're at the stage of perfection. The personality of Godhead is described in the Bhagavad Gita as the most pure, pavitram, the most pure, the supreme, and the absolute truth. There's no trace of a tinge of materiality in his person. And thus, one who has the slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when one is freed from at least two forms of material modes, namely the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. The result is exhibited by the signs of being freed from kama, lust, and lobha, greed or covetousness. That is to say, one must be freed from the desire for sense satisfaction and avarice for sense gratification. The balanced mode of nature is goodness, and to be completely freed from all material tinges is to become freed from the modes of goodness also. Prabhupada mentions that in the 14th chapter. Krishna speaks about the modes of material nature, and he talks about the mode of goodness. And text 6 there, 14.6. And in the second paragraph of the purport, Prabhupada says the difficulty with those in the mode of goodness, generally people think mode of goodness is a religious person. But the difficulty is that you get attached to that way of living and thinking. You're doing good to others, you're helping. And therefore, at the time of death, you get another body. There's no chance of liberation because you're attached to your good work. So we have to transcend goodness also. This is the goal. If we want to go back home, back to Godhead, we have to transcend all the modes of material nature. That's what is described at the end of that 14th chapter. Mam Chovya Bhari. What is it? Very good. So this is the goal. We want to transcend all the modes of material nature, and that's possible. But we have to get the mercy of Krishna and his representative, the spiritual master, in order to really free ourselves from any tinge of material motive. Goodness is better than the rest, but it also keeps us here in the material world. Okay? To be completely freed from all material tinges is to become freed from the mode of goodness also. To search the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered to be in the mode of goodness. One can go out into the forest to attain spiritual perfection, but that does not mean that one can see the Lord personally there. One must be completely freed from all material attachment and be situated on the plane of transcendence, which alone will help the devotee get in physical touch with the personality of Godhead. So our Radhanath Swami, he was doing that kind of meditation, living by himself in the forest and so on. But then, when he met the devotees, he saw that this is a higher thing. Devotional service is higher than this meditation on the Lord in the heart. But still, he did some. The story was that I heard, maybe some of you, his disciples are here, you can correct me, that Prabhupada was finishing one program and he was walking in a big crowd, thousands of people had come, and Prabhupada's servants were there in the front, and they wouldn't let people touch Prabhupada's feet because it's too much. 1,000 people who all want to touch Prabhupada's feet. So they were protecting Prabhupada from that rush of crowd. And as Prabhupada was walking, he also saw that Radhanath Swami was there with the long hair and he was trying to come to touch Prabhupada's feet. And Prabhupada said, no, he can touch my feet. So Prabhupada could see that this person was potentially a pure devotee. So he let him come. He's not an ordinary person. Those yogis who are, finding God, they're not ordinary. How many people do you know that leave everything and go to the forest looking for God? Have you ever met anybody? So Prabhupada could see that and immediately took him, made him a disciple. Did he give him sannyas? I forget.
1981.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The best method is that one should live at a place where the transcendental form of the Lord is worshipped. The temple of the Lord is a transcendental place, whereas the forest is a materially good habitation. A neophyte devotee is always recommended to worship the deity of the Lord, Archana, rather than go into the forest to search out the Lord. So we have the deity form of the Lord here. We don't have to go to the forest. Devotional service begins from the process of Archana, which is better than going out and into the forest. In this present life, which is completely freed from all material hankerings, Sri Narada Muni does not go into the forest, although he can turn every place into Vaikuntha by his presence only. He travels from one place to another to convert men, gods, kinnaras, gandharvas, rishis, munis, and all others to become devotees of the Lord. By his activities, he has engaged many devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and many others in the transcendental service of the Lord. So this is Narada Muni's position. He is the leader of the devotees. And here we're reading about him. So just hearing about him and his attempts to see the Lord and so on, we can make progress, spiritual progress. But we should believe with it. This is not fiction. These things actually happen. This is history. And in this way, Srimad Bhagavatam is full of the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. So Prabhupada puts so much energy into the Srimad Bhagavatam. Every night, for 2 or 3 hours, he was translating from 1 o'clock in the morning to like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And we saw it. It was like, how can he do that? How can he doesn't sleep hardly. He took a little nap in the day. But otherwise, so that was probably because he was inspired. I'll give you an example of his inspiration. He called me into his room in Calcutta, and he said, I was a sannyasi. He said, we just got a letter from Mr. Gajah. He's the president of DuPont Chemical Company in Taipei, Taiwan. And he wants to help us start a center there. He's ready to give money. So I want you to go, take a few brahmacharis, and open a center there. And he's ready to help you. So the first reaction was, oh no, the Chinese. I mean, the Chinese I knew, we were hippies. You never saw a Chinese hippie. No. They were always very careful, every penny, But by the time I left Prabhupada's room, because he was so enthusiastic, I was enthusiastic. I came out, I said, yeah, we're going to China, Republic of China. But that was Prabhupada's influence. He once said, this whole movement is spread on enthusiasm. He's talking about his own enthusiasm. He was so enthusiastic that he made everybody around him enthusiastic. And that's an example of it. My first reaction was, oh. But by the time I left Prabhupada's presence, I was fired up to go. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Dhruva Maharaj and many others in the transcendental service of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord, therefore, follows in the footsteps of great devotees like Narada and Prahlad, and engages his whole time in glorifying the Lord by the process of kirtan. Such a preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities. So that's open for all of us. Whoever you meet, talk to them about Krishna. Here in India, that won't be seen as, you can say, something so strange, because you have a history of God-conscious men. Like Tukaram, he was a very inspired kirtaniya, right? So like that, there's so many histories. So if you have a little enthusiasm to preach, people, they may not like it immediately, but they have to appreciate, okay, he's a devotee. And so in the West, they can lock you up. Actually, they tried to do that. Sometimes we got arrested, by the police for chanting on the street. But here you won't get that problem. So that's why this movement is growing so well in India. Because you have, just like we were in a temple that just opened in Katur, was it? Kargar. And your prime minister came. You won't get that in America, that president's going to come and... So, conditions are favorable here. And Prabhupada knew that. Therefore, in the last 2 years before Prabhupada left the planet, he brought a lot of men and money, and women too, from the West to establish 3 main centers he wanted to establish before he left the planet. The Bombay, Juhu, the Mayapur, and Vrindavan. 3 places. And he did. They were up and running by the time Prabhupada left. So, but now we see so many huge centers all over, even here. So, the point I'm trying to make is, be enthusiastic to preach. Don't be bashful. Whoever you meet, Lord Chaitanya says, talk to them about Krishna. This is our process. And it'll benefit us. At the end of the Gita we read, in chapter 18, verse 68 and 69. Krishna talks there about those who preach the message of the Lord. Krishna said, no one is more dear to me than he, nor in the future will anyone ever be more dear to me than he. That is he who preaches. So it's very clear. We should preach. What is the difficulty? We have books we can give them. We should, and I see so many of you know verses. You can meet your friends or relatives or somebody who are not devoted, and just speak one verse in Sanskrit, they'll be impressed. Wow, this guy, he's a sadhu now. So in this way, we can get people to come. Although I don't know how many more people we can fit in this room here. Maybe a few more. But I guess we'll have to open another center. This is the mood. We were opening centers. And Prabhupada's time, we were opening centers in America. So many centers we opened. So we should do like that, especially here in India. Prabhupada knew the potential in India. And therefore he brought men and money, and he established 3 big projects, and now so many projects are going on because of the sincere people who are following Prabhupada. You don't have to be Prabhupada's disciple. Prabhupada is ready to help everybody. If you're loyal to him, he'll help you. Not that we become Rik-Fiks. The Rik-Fiks, they're mistaken in one point. That a couple of points. But one point is a glaring mistake is that they assume that Prabhupada is willing to accept their disciple. But it's very clear. The guru has to you can say, inspect the disciple, see if he's worthy to get initiated. And the disciple should examine the guru. This is the process. Hari Bhakti Vilas, who talks about that. So how do they know that Prabhupada is accepting them? There's no history of it, of any acharya taking mass, on a mass scale, initiating people without seeing them, without being there. So their point is wrong. They're saying that Krishna came to reestablish parampara, but Prabhupada came to stop it. This is not even logical. Why would Prabhupada stop parampara? First of all, although Prabhupada is a great devotee, he's not the maker of religion. Dharma tu shakshat bhagavat. Religion is coming from God. Prabhupada's not God. He can't just change the principle. This is a principle, parampara. It's not a detail, it's a principle. So how can they assume that Prabhupada has changed the principle of parampara? No. I talked to one devotee who was with him before he left. And he said it was mostly because of political, you can say, consideration. He was instrumental in building a big temple there, and he didn't want to turn it over to ISKCON. He wanted to keep it in his own hands. That's what but you know that devotee, who he was with Madhupanda for some years after he left, and then he left him. And now he's a temple president somewhere. What's his name? Ah. So he realized that this guy is cheating. He wants to get the credit. And now they're making a big project in Vrindavan. It's the same thing. So from the other side, if we just remain humble and cooperate with the last instructions Prabhupada gave, then we can do something wonderful in this world. This is what Prabhupada wanted. We were in a car coming back from a morning walk in Los Angeles. And the devotees didn't see us. We came back a different way. And we could see them. They were all waiting to see Prabhupada. They were looking the other direction. And Prabhupada saw that. He spoke with full authority. There are 3 sannyasis in the back of the car and Prabhupada and the driver in the front. And Prabhupada spoke. He said, they cannot check this movement. This movement will go unchecked for the next 10,000 years. So all we have to do is be here and cooperate with the movement, and then our future is very bright. But the tendency is there we want to put our signature, just like this Madhupanda. He wants to be famous. No, that's not wanted. I was there when Prabhupada sat up in the bed and made his last will. It's very clear. GBC is the ultimate managing authority for all of ISKCON. That's what he wanted. He saw what happened to his spiritual master. Like now there's 78 Gaudiyamas. Each one is separate, incorporated separate, and has separate different moods and so on. And one sannyasi can't go to another Gaudiya Math and preach here. Not allowed. Because they're separate entities. But ISKCON, I can go anywhere. And I'll be welcome. As long as I keep my nose clean and don't do some nonsense. I mean, we should inform the GBC. I don't know if anybody did. No, I did. I spoke to him myself. Your GBC is now Guru Prasad, huh? Is he GBC here? So I saw him at that Kargar. And I told him I was Swami. He said, you're always welcome. I've known Guru Prasad since the very beginning. We would meet in Mayapur every year at Sannyasi's quarters, and we talked. So he knows I'm an ISKCON man, and he's not worried about that I'm here, trying to cut something out from him. The same with Radhanath Swami. In other words, we can work together because we're not ambitious to do something great on our own. We want to do something great for Prabhupada. Therefore, when Radhanath does something wonderful, I feel happy because I know Prabhupada will be pleased. This is my happiness, is to see that Prabhupada is pleased with us. Otherwise, envy is so strong. And therefore the Gaudiya Math, they're envious of each other. They keep very separate. 78 different missions. So Prabhupada didn't want that. He said he saw that this is what happened to his Guru Maharaj's mission. So from the very beginning, I was giving a massage in 1969 and Prabhupada was talking about creating a GBC. He was concerned. What's going to happen to his movement after he leaves? The notice was there. He was already sick even at 69. Right? He had a heart attack and so many problems. So he was always thinking how to keep this movement going on, unchecked, for the next 10,000 years. And it's possible. He proclaimed, he prophesied, yes, it will go unchecked. But we have to cooperate with each other and keep Prabhupada in the center. It's not so difficult. Prabhupada belongs in the center. He's the Acharya. What have we done? What has he done? He single-handedly started this movement and we're just following in his footsteps, trying to help him, that's all. But he should get all the credit. And then he'll give credit to us too, as we deserve it. But we shouldn't be eager to become a big devotee or a great devotee. Bhaktisiddhanta says, don't try to be a great devotee. Be the opposite. Be a good devotee. A good devotee is thinking But this is the temple, how I can help. This is the mood of the good devotee. This is Prabhupada's mission. So if I help the mission, then Prabhupada will be pleased with me. Then I can go back home, back to Godhead. If he's not pleased, then our whereabouts is unknown. So this is the key to success. Cooperate together, push on this movement, and don't be attached to the result. Try your best, but the result is not in your hand. Okay? Any questions? You want this one?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for your lifetime of service and such nice, inspiring class. You were mentioning about the mistakes of the Ritviks that means Prabhupada came to stop the parampara, that's what they think, and Krishna comes to establish the parampara.
Yeah.
So means I think 2013 we were having class by the teacher Maharaj in Calcutta, and Maharaj said that don't count Ritviks separately. We have not driven them away, they themselves have gone away. You count them as ISKCON people only, and in future they will merge in ISKCON. So,
well, that may be, but right now they're taking people away, and money also, and using it in the wrong way. So we're not, why should we support them? We don't hate them, we don't hate anyone. And they have some good quality, they appreciate Srila Prabhupada. But it's thing over appreciation. Just like I saw with my own eyes, 1970 in New Vrindavan. There were 4 or 5 sannyasis. It was like a crowd like this, and they stood in the front, held their dandas, strided back and forth while they were giving class. Something giving class, motivation. And they were saying, the Prophet is God. And I was thinking, he's not God. I used to give him massages, he had an old body. Krishna always is Navayogana. He's always youthful. So how can he be? So I asked him, I raised my hand, I said, what about that little blue boy? Prabhupada is not the blue boy. So they said, how do you know about him? I said, from Prabhupada. See? And they just dismissed me. So as soon as Prabhupada heard that this was going on, he threw these 5 sannyasis out of his movement. He said, you cannot stay at any of my centers. If you travel and preach, if you become purified, then we'll consider again whether we'll accept you back. The Prabhupada, he knew that he's not God. And Prabhupada also knows he can't change the principle of religion. He can't make the system of parampara go away because it's inconvenient. No. It's established by God. Prabhupada doesn't have the power to change the principles of religion. Dharma tishakshat bhagavat pradita. Religion is made by God, not Prabhupada. Prabhupada is following. He's an expert follower, perfect follower. Like he said, whatever credit is there for my spreading this mission all over the world is simply due to my Guru Maharaj. Because I took his order as my life and soul. So that's the humble position. Not that I'm the doer. Prabhupada understood that it was mercy that made this movement spread. Mercy from above. I'll tell you one time that I kind of defeated Prabhupada. So the story was, I was preaching in Chandigarh. There was one Cheta Guru who was in charge there. I didn't get along very well with him. And maybe some of you met him or something. He also became Bhakti Chaitanya at the end, Bhakti Chaitanya Swami. But he was a Sikh, and the police were looking for him. He was a criminal. So he shaved his head, put on tilak, and became a Hare Krishna. The police couldn't find him. He was very clever. So Prabhupada accepted his service and it was going on. But the point I was making was that, what was the point I was making?
Regarding Ritviks.
Oh yeah.
Separating.
Yeah, so you can't change the philosophy.
You defeated Prabhupada, that you were mentioning. How you defeated Prabhupada?
How?
How you defeated Prabhupada?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I had come from that place where he was, this Chaitanya, what was his name, Chaitanya? Guru Guranga or something, no, not Guru Guranga. Anyway, I was serving in Chandigarh, he was the temple president. But I couldn't get along with him, right? He was a gunda. And so I came to see Prabhupada in Vrindavan. And I told him I wanted to change my service. And he gave me permission, okay. So I came to Delhi, and there I was helping the temple president there. We were making life members. We'd go out in a three-wheeler, making life members. At the end of the day, you blew your nose, it was all black. The Delhi air, even then. And that was in the 70s. But anyway, so we went on for a while. Maybe 2 or 3 months later, again Prabhupada came to Vrindavan, so I wanted to see him. So I left, I got permission to tell the president in Delhi, went to Vrindavan. This is just a short train ride. And then I came into Prabhupada's room, and Prabhupada immediately was alarmed. He said, "Why are you here? It's not good you're changing your service like this." And I looked, I said, "No, Prabhupada, I'm not coming here to change my service. I'm just coming here because I love your association." And then Prabhupada kind of looked up at his superiors and he said, "What can I do?" So I defeated Prabhupada out of love. So out of love, Krishna can be defeated. That's a fact. This is the thing, love. I love Prabhupada, I did. And so I told him, I'm here just because I love you, Prabhupada. And I want to be with you for a little while. I didn't stay, I stayed a few days and then went back to my service. And I didn't intend to stay. Okay, so any questions there?
Maharaj, just one clarification in this. That you mentioned that I think few months back I had seen a photo that in which Madhu Pandit Prabhu visited Mayapur Dham and he was welcomed there, and our Gauranga Prabhu and Braj Vilas Prabhu, they welcomed him, they attended to him. So it's like that at managerial level they maintain their relationship so that it can be resolved, and at our level we maintain distance so that we can be protected. Is that the correct understanding?
I'm not exactly sure what he's saying. Try again.
Maharaj, the question is that general devotee should stay away from Ritvik people. And managerial level, higher level, they are associating, so whether they can associate and who are the general devotees should stay away from who are the Ritvik.
Yeah, because they're not in ISKCON. We should be loyal to ISKCON. And Prabhupada gave the definition of ISKCON. You have a GBC. Who's your GBC? No, we don't need a GBC. But Prabhupada wrote, sat up in a bed, the lawyers came, and he signed his name there, that the GBC is the ultimate managing authority for all of ISKCON. So why don't they accept that, what Prabhupada wrote? Very clearly, it's in writing. So why should we associate with them? They're not in ISKCON. We don't have to hate them. We can sometimes like a Rath Yatra or something, if they're there, we don't mind. But to go and hear from them, no, we don't have to do that. They should come.
Can I answer this question little, Maharaj? Can I answer in detail?
Yeah, please.
Maharaj, Hare Krishna, your question, my answer is like this. General devotee should stay away from these things because they speak poison, and for Ritvik people who are neophyte or who are general devotees, their mind is quiet. So they should stay away, and higher managerial level, the discussion takes place to negotiate, to meet, bringing them back to the ISKCON fold. That is their job. This is not our job. We should enter in conversation with them.
Thank
Because
you.
I have seen, so whenever you talk to them, only voices come out from their mouth. So it's better, everybody should stay away.
I agree. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Maharaj.
No, that's fine. Any other questions? On philosophy? Or, yes, in the back there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Maharaj, I have a basic question. Like I heard an anecdote of Srila Prabhupada that once, like during the morning walk, Srila Prabhupada was accompanied by his disciples and well-wishers, and one of the disciples asked or exclaimed to Srila Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada, that means that we are also sometimes under Maya. Then Srila Prabhupada turned around and said, you are always under Maya. My question is,
But sometimes you fall into Krishna. He said like that. You're always in Maya, but sometimes you fall into Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you for correction. Yes. So now, Bhagavad Gita 14.26 mentions, Krishna mentions, Mang cha yo avivicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Like whoever is fully Krishna, Srila Prabhupada uses this phrase, right? One who is full Krishna conscious. So it is very clear that whoever is serving with Srila Prabhupada all the time, are they not full Krishna conscious? Though, why like Srila Prabhupada commented like that? Basically, I want to understand what is the meaning of full Krishna conscious, as Srila Prabhupada uses this phrase again and again. And it looks very, hopeless condition that Srila Prabhupada's disciples who are wholeheartedly committed to him. So about them also Srila Prabhupada says, so it's very bewildering and, like kind of hopeless situation. So if you kindly clarify what is full Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Maharaj.
Means whatever we do is for pleasing Krishna. That's for Krishna consciousness. Isn't that the verse there? What is it, 9:27? Yach karoshi yajda. Translate in English?
Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever you do tapasya or practice, do that as an offering to me.
So if someone is doing that, but the tendency, because since time immemorial, we've been following our mind. And so we can slip back into that easily. So Prabhupada was just indirectly encouraging us, don't be discouraged if you're not fully Krishna conscious. The process works, just keep at it. Practice makes perfect. Prabhupada was often to use that phrase, practice makes perfect. So we shouldn't be discouraged. It's hard. Because that verse is there, right? So what is it, 7:14? Daivihe saguna mayi. So this Maya is very difficult to overcome, but the next line, if you surrender to me, you can easily cross beyond this Maya. So who can stop us from surrendering if we really want to surrender? But it's the point that Prabhupada is making is that we can cheat ourselves. We can think, yeah, we're fully surrendered, but there's some motive still there to enjoy separately from God, to be famous devotee. Anyway, that's like an encouragement that don't be too discouraged that you're not a pure devotee. That's my take on why Prabhupada said like that. Don't be too discouraged. Like when Prabhupada came to London, we had a first meeting with him, and the lady, the temple president's wife, her name was Janaki, she spoke in a very emotional voice. She said, Prabhupada, you're so wonderful. You want to save the whole world. And Prabhupada said, yes, but not an easy job. This is Maya's kingdom. So we should expect that there's going to be attacks from Maya. And sometimes we may lose a battle, but we won't lose the war if we just remain determined and keep going. Like a child learning how to walk, sometimes they may fall down, but they're determined. They get up again and keep going. So similarly, even we may have a lapse into sense gratification, we should see it as be ashamed of it and vow never to do it again and continue. Otherwise we may think, oh, this is easy, this Krishna consciousness. And then they'll start saying, I saw this in New Vrindavan, 1969, one devotee was saying, I'm a gopi. You know, he's a devotee 1 year and he's already decided he's a gopi. So it's easy to jump over. We want to go step by step. First understand thoroughly you're not this body, and so on, before you start thinking you're a gopi. Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir. Is it sir? Can't see. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my praises. Maharaj, thank you so much for the wonderful class. I have two questions. First of all, we speak so much about love, trust and cooperation. That is what Srila Prabhupada wants from us. But how do we maintain that cooperation? Because we are different individuals, we have different opinions, and the opinions sometimes make a clash. So how to maintain the cooperation amongst devotees? That's my first question.
So what's the alternative? To strike out on your own and open your own center? No, we need to cooperate, just a practical point. If we want to get the books, we have to cooperate with BBT. We can't just start printing our own books and so on. So, I don't understand really what's so difficult about the concept of cooperate. It means you operate, we operate, but we cooperate. The goal is that Prabhupada is pleased. Prabhupada's movement is expanding. So if we see that it's happening, then we see cooperation is successful. Otherwise, in the early days, when there was, you can say, rivalry between devotees, they didn't like the way the temple president was managing it, they would go and open another center in some other city, because there were, like in America, there were so many cities we didn't have a temple. So that they were that way. In some ways, the movement spread quicker, because these disgruntled devotees would open their own center. Either they would succeed, or they would find it's not so easy. And either way, it's a learning process. You don't like the way it's managed here? Go in your city alone, you can have so many temples, right? But it's back to other cities. There must be some cities where there's no temple. So if you're so sure that things are being done incorrectly here, then show by your example that how to do it. You be temple president in your own area. Prabhupada didn't mind that. But a lot of them couldn't do it, so they came back onto the temple where there was an authority already. So we're not recommending everybody has to go and start your own temple. But in the early days, that helped to spread the movement. Okay, anyone else?
Maharaj, my second question is, we hear so much that Vaishnavas, even the Mayavadis can become the Vaishnavas, they can become devotees, but devotees never fall down to become Mayavadis. But I have seen certain devotees, I get some messages from some people that my family member was a devotee but later became a Mayavadi, impersonalist. So how do we convince such devotees to come back to the movement?
Well, the answer is they probably were never devotees in the first place. Devotee is not an easy thing. Devotee means you love Krishna more than yourself. That's the definition of devotee. So they were never devotees. And then they found that I become one with God, that's attracted to them. I'll be equal with God. So we should just preach it's like spiritual suicide. You're going to become one with God. It means you lose your identity. They give the example, right, the bubble on the ocean. The bubble pops and then you become one with the ocean. But what is the variety then? We always say variety is the spice of life. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. But they don't have any variety. So the highest thing is the variety of exchange we have with Krishna. So many varieties are there, right? Somebody's a cowherd boy, somebody's a gopi, somebody's like this. We have varieties of exchange with the Lord. And it's all relishable, higher relishable. Like we were on a morning walk in Mayapur, and Prabhupada said, if I told you, sit down there in the field forever and ever, you wouldn't be happy. You want to get up and go to Calcutta and see what's happening, some variety. So that this impersonal conception, you become one with everything. Where's the activities there? The soul is active by nature, but there's no activities in the oneness. So therefore, they come to become devotees, like the four Kumaras. They were merged into that conception, but when they smelled the tulsi leaf offered to the Lord, they relished it, they became devotees. So many examples. Now you give an example of one so-called devotee who became impersonal. That may be, but they're not really devotees in the first place. A real devotee will never. Because he loves God. He loves his spiritual master. How can he do something that would be so displeasing to them? But I wouldn't worry about it. Next.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Ready. Okay, looks like we have no more questions, huh?
There's one hand, Maharaj, he has got a question here.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have two questions. Firstly is that, does Krishna accept state of surrender?
Does Krishna?
Does Krishna accept a devotee if he surrenders to him in distress?
Yes.
And secondly, how do, I mean, of course, when you take up Krishna consciousness, you're not there to convince other people, like, oh, I've taken Krishna consciousness as such. It is, for your own, how do I say it? It's for your own happiness as such. So how do I tame my mind from thinking that, surrendering to Krishna consciousness is not just an escapism, but it's in the pursuit of liberation. Because mind is bewildered all the time. Even if you chant or even if you listen to kirtans, it's always, finding a different means of happiness or pursuit of happiness. So, how do I, how?
No, in the beginning that's okay. And like what Prabhupada says, is it right if we desire to go back to Godhead? And Prabhupada said yes. He said yes, we can desire to go back home, back to Godhead. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question. You had two.
Second one. So, okay. How do I control my mind from thinking that, surrendering is not an escapism from the distress of the world?
How do I convince my mind that this...
Surrendering is not escapism from the distress of this world.
But it is, in a sense. We're taking the Krishna consciousness. We have positive, Krishna's playing the flute, inviting us, and the other side, Maya's kicking us. So, what's wrong with that? An intelligent man will see, I don't want to be kicked anymore. Maya is very strict. Nobody can escape her clutches unless they fully surrender to Krishna. So, that's your choice. If you think Maya is more attractive than Krishna, then you stay in the material world. If you understand that Krishna is the most attractive, then you come to the spiritual world. So it's not bad to want to be happy. Robert said, we're not hippies, we're happies. So that's a good motive. You want to be happy. So this is the place to come. Come to Krishna consciousness, you can be happy. Otherwise, you're getting kicked, material nature. Daivihe Sagunamaya, we just quoted, right? Very difficult to overcome. And there's three kinds of miseries, Adidaiva, Adibhautik, Adiyatmik. So we're in a miserable condition, we should take impetus from that. And then on the positive side, Krishna is so attractive, Prabhupada is so attractive, so we want to be with them. Like I told the story how Prabhupada captured my heart. And one time I was in London, 1969, and I was giving massage to Prabhupada. He was there for 3 months, so I was giving massage every day. But he was due to leave. And I asked him a couple of times, Prabhupada, when you leave, can I go with you? So he said, let us see what Krishna wants. So about a week before he was due to leave, his servant came and told, stop bothering Prabhupada about going to America with us, because another devotee, Prabhupada already gave permission for him to give massage when we arrived in Boston. His name is Upendra. So I thought it was probably true. But later in that same day, I was driving Srila Prabhupada in the car, just the two of us. So I said, Srila Prabhupada, your servant, Purushottam, told me that Upenja is going to be giving you a massage when you come to America. So Prabhupada's response was utter silence. So then I thought, it's true. That's why he's not speaking. It's true. So then I thought further, okay, I can resign myself to not going. It's not the end of the world. I'll meet Prabhupada again in another place, whatever. But still the silence was there. Just the two of us in the car. I had spoke very clearly. And so I wanted to break the silence, at the same time, let Prabhupada know that I was resigned not to go with him. So I said, Sri Prabhupada, I never met Upendra. Is he a nice boy? And Prabhupada turned to me, very feelingly, he said, not as nice as you. Well, right in my heart. I thought, Prabhupada loves us. He did, he loved everybody. He loves all of you also. That's his nature. Because you're part of Krishna, he loves his partner also. Srila Prabhupada ki. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna. Just have a question. Can I go it, Maharaj? Yeah, this is, I'm just referring to the Bhagavatam's 6th canto and 16th chapter. There it is mentioned from the Vishnu Puran also, saying by one chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from the reactions of more sins than he can even imagine performing. So, we as a Savaka, we have been chanting all these days. Till we don't feel that we are progressing and our sins have been...
Yeah, that verse is also there, but you don't feel it because your heart is steel framed. As long as you keep a steel framed heart, you won't be able to relish the glories of the holy name. Therefore, there's 10 offenses you have to be careful to avoid. If you chant once, purely, the holy name, then you get that result. But we have 10 offenses, right? It's easy to make offense. We're a little inattentive. We're maintaining some material attachments. Who is not maintaining material attachment? It's not. It's very subtle and very difficult to give up. So don't be discouraged if your hair is not standing on end and tears are not flowing from your eyes. Continue with the process and that day will come. Practice makes perfect. Prabhupada used that phrase quite often. Practice makes perfect. Okay, one more question? I'm just worried if people are getting restless sitting here. It's okay? I can't hear you. It's not turned on.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. Maharaj, we are in family life. So naturally, every day we are facing problems in our families. We have Trigunas, Sattvaja, Samoguna. We are studying Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everything is. But despite all these things, again and again we are getting problems.
From the family. Yeah, therefore we recommend sannyas. Now you're getting older, why not?
We are in family, so we can't give up.
But Prabhupada had a family also. He gave up. How old are you?
60.
How old are you?
60.
Huh?
60.
No, nothing. At least you could come to Vanaprastha. Take your wife and travel and preach. We have so many holy places. And then let the family deal with their own problems. Everybody has a problem. That's one alternative. Otherwise, you have to deal with the problems. You do have some responsibility. Are your children grown up? How old are your youngest child? How old is your youngest child?
28 years.
Oh, well. You have to be worried about his problems? He's a grown man. So we should stop now? Huh? 10 minutes, okay. Next. It's your choice. You want to stay with family? Or you want to... But a 20-year-old man, he should be able to take care of himself. Why do you have to stay with him and solve his problem?
Maharaj, so one devotee has sent a chat with a question. I will just read the question. Why didn't Narad Muni tell Dhruv Maharaj to worship deities at home, as that is also transcendental?
That is also...
As that is also transcendental.
Yeah, so why not? Why wouldn't he recommend something that's transcendental?
So the question is, why didn't Narad Muni tell Dhruva Maharaj to worship deities at home?
Because it's transcendental. Why? He shouldn't advise you to do something transcendental? That's nice. Prabhupada had his deity. Once I came in front of Prabhupada and brought his slippers, and he chanted, "Don't you see Krishna is here? Why are you bringing my shoes in front of Krishna?" He really laid into it. So the deity is transcendental. You take care of the deity, then you're also acting transcendentally. I don't see any problem there. Anyone else? But Prabhupada wasn't too much in favor of sannyasis having deities, because we're traveling so much. I mean, that's the idea. And so it's a little difficult to, when you're always traveling.
I want to hear one bhajan. Hari Haraya from you.
Okay, we have time. Hari Haraya? Or what about?
Hari Haraya.
Maharaj, your famous tune, Maharaj?
I don't know. The one I usually sing is Bhajare Mana.
You would sing Hari Haraya.
Give him a microphone. That sounded wonderful.
You sang in the house, Maharaj, 30 years back.
How many years back? 20 years back.
No, 30 or 25, 27 years back.
Hari Haraya Namaha. Hari Haraya Namaha. Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hey Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopala Govindara Kina Visadana. Gopala Govindara Kina Visadana. Hey, Giriraj Gopinath Madhava Mohan. Oh, Giriraj Gopinath Madhava Mohan. Oh, Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hey Chaitanya Nityananda Jai Advaita So now we should chant more? Or? Yeah, let's stand up then.